How's it going? Welcome back. This is Jonathan, and in this video we're going to be taking another look at Bitcoin. Now we're going to be covering three things today. The first one is the cyclical update for Bitcoin for the remainder of the year. The second one is we're going to be taking a look at the 90-day Bitcoin cycle because there's a new development happening and I wanted to give you that first. And then the third one is we're going to take a look at the square of 9, specifically the 220 degree on the square of 9. Now, I don't want to make this channel solely around Bitcoin. There's a lot of other markets out there. There's a lot of other things that I wanted to talk about. So this is not going to be a Bitcoin dominated channel. But I just want to show you these things. That way you can have the tools handy as you move through the financial markets or even evolve in life itself. So as you begin to bring on a new awareness and consciousness. So let's go ahead and flick over to the chart right now. Take a look at the markets and then we'll wrap everything up. And we'll see how things are going to pan out for the next several days to weeks, okay? Let's get into it. Alrighty, so as you can see on your chart right now, we actually have the updated chart for Bitcoin where we were looking at the death cross several times where we weren't actually too impressed with it. And what we can see here is that the price has actually moved above the shorter term moving average. Now that is in itself generally considered bullish. Now we're going to take a quick squiz at all the charts before we actually move into what we're talking about today, because I like to give you a bit of an update. The market's still bullish here, so our bull flags were actually raised right here, where we had the first Dow theory signal. The monthly chart was also very important, where we never actually got across below this 50% level. So that's one level that we were watching continuously. You can go back in the past videos. It's one level we were watching. The Bitcoin swings, as usual. The Gann swing chart continues to point up. And as these swings point up, let's go ahead and just do a quick measure here. As these swings continue to point up, it just signals that the bullish flag needs to be held and waved, okay? Now again, just as always, no financial advice. I'm just showing you how to use these indicators. That way when you go into the markets and use similar things, you know exactly what you're looking for and how to actually use them, okay? So still, we had our price and time over balance here with respect to this downward movement. And ever since then, the market has shown a strong move up and then move lower into our August period before now staging the next run up. So that's always exciting and important to be watching. The Kagi chart, we finally had our flip back up for the market in this period here. So as I said, if the market did continue to fall, it was going to take a very long time to wipe out this low here and before the Kagi chart actually turned bearish. As we know, never happened, so that's good, and that is what we wanted to see. With the weekly Kagi chart, it's just posting green, and as we can see in the past when it's posted green, sometimes the green moves ran just for several days to several weeks, but when we did get the strong time and price over balance, the market did post very strong moves after that period. So that's why we were watching this and we wanted to see how the Kagi chart was actually going to play out. Price-wise, we have smashed through the first take profit target if you were looking to take any gains off the table from any buy orders that you placed lower on. Now, again, I'm not suggesting that you do buy or sell using these, but I'm trying to, again, show you the tools that you need to actually combine everything, okay? So if you were looking to take profit, and you were hypothesizing this yourself, this would have been a good area to de-risk. We've now moved into our second area here, where we're now be looking to de-risk. Now, again, price can continue just to go skyrocket upwards on and on and on. It's not about trying to capture the top and the bottom. It's actually trying to take money out of the market so that we can continue to live a more luxurious and better life. Or if you're using the markets as your way to make money, you got to have both an entry and an exit signal. It doesn't matter if you're making 10% a year or 100% a year. The main difference is that you're in it year after year after year. What we find with a lot of new traders is that they have a very stellar first year. So let's say, for example, we've got a lot of buyers coming into the market right here, or right here, or right here, that are just posting their very first trade in crypto. And sure, they've written it out, they've been a bit confused as to about what's happening, but then they get this massive run. Now these guys here that are in this massive run right now, where they've got no experience of this over here, now think to themselves that they're freaking geniuses and that they're on top of the world. I like to say that there's a bit more to it than just buying the low, because now you've got to decide where are you selling. Did you accidentally take profits all the way down here? Did you just randomly take profits here? Or do you actually have a distinct price point where you're going to be taking profits and or looking to jump into the market if the market fell to a specific area? So again, there's a lot of people who are going to come across this channel. There's a lot of people who are going to be entering the markets over the next 5 years as we lead into one of the biggest bull runs we've ever seen. I'm going to continue to say that. There's going to be a lot of money made, but there's also going to be a lot of people who lose money as the market turns. So we're about developing strategies and theories and improving on that. So let's continue to move on. There's been no further development in the market with respect to our Elliott wave theory. Now, I'm not going to try and put a price target with Elliott wave alone because it takes a lot more than that. For example, multiple price clusterings and things like that. So using this tool, I'm not going to go into it right now as to where the Elliott wave may occur, for at least if it's going to be a final wave 5 blow off top. But we do definitely have some areas that I'm watching, okay? Let's move forward. Now the BTC cycle, so let's go ahead and get into this one. So what we have seen is that we did get our lower move. Now it obviously wasn't a sharp decline like I was expecting, but we did get our lower move into August. Now that that's done and dusted, I believe it's done and dusted, we'll find out soon. I now want to be looking further into the future. So there's 2 points that I'm going to be looking at. Now I'm going to just copy this one quickly right here and paste it right here. So that was our left and right possible translation on the shorter term 90-day cycle right there, with an expected, I'm going to pop that back on so I can explain it once more, with an expected, if it's to occur, a potential lower low or higher low than where it started. Obviously we can hypothesize that this might be a higher low, definitely in September, so that's one to watch here. And then we've also got a left or right translation period occurring for another cycle, end of August to the middle, well, not, I wouldn't say middle, I'd say about first 1.5 weeks into September. Now I'll go ahead and explain to you in a very short moment why I believe that this time period is an important one to watch and could play out. So I'm going to go ahead and now draw on our new, just hypothesized left and right translation. Oh, I won't use that one, I'll use this one, for what might be occurring right now for this time period. So this could be something that we're looking at. Now ignore price, I'm just going for angle and direction. And this is now a potential right translation top. Doesn't matter where it occurs here. As long as we get a right translation top, this one could have occurred here. And we want to get a higher low in this period here. Okay, that's what we're watching for. So I don't care if it comes down all the way down to 29,000 or 30,000, as long as it's a higher high. Now I'll bring more clarity into this very soon to show you what I'm looking for. So that is the 90-day Bitcoin cycle updated, and it's not invalidating what occurred in the past. What's occurred in the past has now rolled out, and we will be marking it in the Excel sheet as a positive cycle. These 2 new cycles that have started here and here, so let me go ahead, here and here, will now begin to roll out into brand new cycles that we'll be watching. So this is the whole wheels within wheels phenomenon, okay? So let's go ahead and continue. All right, so the square of 9. Now, if you're not too sure, you're not too fond on what the actual square of 9 is, let me go ahead and show you and give you I won't give you an introduction to square 9. I'll just go ahead and show you what the square of 9 is, and then I'll come back to this chart so that way you can actually get a little bit of an idea of what I'm talking about. It's a very complicated topic. So this here is the square of 9. Now it's actually considered to be one of Gann's most important discoveries, and it's actually, if you look at it from a top-down perspective, Gann was very fond on the ancient Egyptian methodologies and things like that. Now if we look down from a very top-down perspective, what we're going to get here is we're going to get the very peak of a pyramid, and then the pyramid is going to come down because of course Gann was very fond on the ancient Egyptians. So if we have our very midpoint of the pyramid and then we have the pyramid getting larger and larger over time and space, well, this here creates our pyramid. Now, Gann believed that the square of 9 was a very important aspect. Now, if we scroll in, what we have is we have a square here, and as we go around the square, we go up in increments, in the first square at least, of 9. And then as we go out, we go higher in increments and higher in increments, but they're all relating to the square of 9. So for example, 2, 11, 28, 53, 86, 27, they're all complete revolutions of a square of 9. So we're not just adding 9 to whatever the number was before, but we're getting a square of it, okay? So for example, on the left-hand side, if we have a 360-degree revolution of a square of 9, that tells us that 11 to 28 is a full revolution around the square of 9. And 53 here is from 28 to 53 is a full revolution around the square of 9. Now, if we were to look at the degrees of time and space around the square of 9, well, we have on here various increments that I've just put on just for an example. We have the 45-degree angle, the 120-degree angle, the 180-degree angle, 220-degree, and the 240-degree angle. So if we take the 53, for example, and we move around the square of 9 45 degrees, that brings us to 57. If we move around the square of 9 by 120 degrees from our original starting point, that brings us to 63.5. If we go around 180 degrees, that's 69. Then we have the 72.5. Then we have just under 75 points, okay? Or it could be points, could be days, could be weeks, could be whatever. And then obviously as we get out to 81, we move on to 82 and we restart the whole square. So as we move out from the 240-degree line, we go out to 81, then we move to 82, and then 86 is our new complete revolution of the whole square. So go ahead if that's something that you want to get into and study. It's a very deep topic and I don't profess to know probably even 5% of the whole topic, but it's all about degrees and squares around the Great Pyramid, okay? At least if we're squaring it by 9, which Gann thought was very important. So if we go back here, what I've put on here is I've put on a static square of 9, and I have actually changed this static square of 9 to the 220 degrees, okay? So if we go back here, what we're essentially saying is this 220-degree line, as we travel around a square of a certain price, is quite important. Now this is one that I found to be quite important because as we can see numerous times the square of 9 has found or met with both significant support and resistance as Bitcoin specifically has made tops and bottoms. Now every single market is going to vibrate to a different notion, so to speak, of where it actually travels around the square of 9. But in this instance, I believe that the square of 9 for Bitcoin is an important one, especially on the 220-degree angle. So you can go back in time and just notice that this angle has continued to play out numerous times. Sometimes it don't get an exact hit, but we're not too far off it. And then sometimes as the market pushes through the square of 9, another degree angle is actually activating. So if we go on here and, for example, put on the 45-degree angle, we can see that another degree is actually active. Now, I don't want to focus on the smaller degrees because I found that for the more significant moves, definitely the 220-degree angle is one to watch. So if our goal and aim here is to keep the chart clean, which is my goal and aim, focus on the 222-degree. Do some sort of back testing on that and see how the wide swings have actually occurred, and they've been met with both resistance and support around that level. So now we're just watching to see what happens here. Actually, this is not live data, so let me go ahead and just change it to live data. That'll give us an updated picture of what's happened. So it moved up, we're coming into the new square level. Is it going to break this level? Is it going to push down? We'll just wait and see. So that's just pretty much what we want to find out. When we have these sharp moves up and down, and we get the quick changes in the market, that gives us a good idea that the market might change direction, and we might be looking to either go long or short. So any of these sharp moves up through into a top, it might give us a few days down, but we'll see what happens. That's just one aspect that hasn't taken into consideration price or time or these other technical indicators. That's just one aspect to get the best picture, merge everything together. All right, so now let's go ahead and take a look at the mass pressure chart, because this is going to give us more clarity on what's going to occur around September, and then we'll wrap up. So what we've seen here is I've put on a cycle. Now this cycle is a repeating cycle in the past, and it's given us a good indication of what this year might look like. It's now obviously not taking into consideration actual angles or velocity of a move, but what I wanted to do was just take a look at this right hand side of the chart, because it looks like it's now matching up to what might be occurring, which is signaling a potential topping pattern and also a potential decline into October. Now this is one cycle. What I'm going to go ahead and do is just pop on the other cycle, because then this will give us greater clarity on what's occurring here, but also give us a good time frame. So let's take off live data. Okay. So that last move that you saw, where it was quite a dramatic topping point and then the decline, occurred around the September, late August to September to October period. Now I've gone ahead and updated the cycle so that we can get more data, but this is an amalgamation of all the cycles coming together. So what I'm expecting with the right translation, or at least the next potential market peak, is that the market's going to move up into a potential top and then decline. And that period that was important, which we saw in the 90-day BTC cycle, was that it was occurring between August, September, and October. I think it had a midpoint around the mid of September. And that's what's occurring here, where we have a mid-September potential top with a market decline. So there is every chance, I'm not saying guarantee, but there is every chance that the market could rally higher from here. I'm not going to talk about dollar values or the velocity of the move. The market could rally higher before finding an immediate top, before declining into another low. Now, if you're someone who wants to be buying the lows, and these are the lows that you'll be looking for. A lot of the dip buying that occurred here, sure. Now it makes sense that was a good opportunity to dip buy, because now we have a clear picture that the market could be turning bullish. But the whole dip buying strategy is generally only meant to be used in bull markets. Okay, so all these dips that are happening are bull market dips. These bear market dips are not dips that you should be buying. And that's where the whole strategy of this whole hodl by the dip strategy for the BTC community is flawed. And that's all I have. I wanted to just leave that in your hands now, just to ponder over. As I said, I don't want to make this a dominant BTC channel, because there's other markets, there's other topics that I wanted to talk about, there's more philosophies that I want to go into, but at least now you have an idea on what I'm looking at and what you should be looking at too, to get a good full picture view of the year ahead. I'll leave that with you. If you like this video, go ahead and leave a thumbs up. If you didn't like it, leave it a thumbs down. Any comments, questions, concerns, go ahead and leave in the comment box. If you want to stick around, hit the subscribe button. I'll see you again.